So now we have entered the next formation of 24 Nights, which is the 9-piece band. The 9-piece band featured musicians Ray Cooper, who's an amazing percussionist who's played with everyone. And I mean everyone. I mean Elton John, Paul McCartney, everyone you can think of that needs percussion has used Ray Cooper. And Ray Cooper is still probably the go-to person for percussion. There's a lot of great percussionists out there, but I think people recognize Ray a lot. He's the bald guy with the glasses, kind of like John Lennon glasses. So this Ray Cooper, we've got, again, Greg Philliganes on keys. We've got Nathan East on bass. We've got Steve Ferroni. The 4-piece band is still there. They've just added a couple more people. Now we have backing singers for the first time. We've got Katie Kassoon and Tessa Niles, who are fantastic. And then we also have Chuck Leavell on organ. Either it's Chuck Leavell or Alan Clark. I'm not positive, but either of them are on this performance. And we also have Phil Palmer. Phil Palmer is Eric's backing guitarist, playing a lot of the complementary licks in between the vocals. And we'll get into that when we talk about Pretending. But I would first like to show you this. This is February 18th, 1991. Eric Clapton and his band, Royal Albert Hall. This is the night that they got Pretending, Bad Love, Old Love, and Wonderful Tonight. The versions that we see on DVD are from this show. I would say a year ago, I became like a ticket stub hunter. I wanted to get ticket stubs for concerts that I couldn't attend. So when these concerts were happening, I was minus 2 months old. I was born in April of 1991. So I was 2 months shy of this concert. And I got this bug to buy ticket stubs. And so every day or every other day, I would look on eBay for a ticket stub from these concerts. And I have ticket stubs from 2 nights, or actually 3 nights. And I'm still looking for ticket stubs from the blues night and the 4-piece band night when they do White Room. But this is my prized possession, because if you saw Eric on any of these nights, you're seeing Eric probably on one of the best nights of his career. And to just have a piece of that, to kind of just imagine what it would be like, is kind of cool. The 9-piece band nights are pretty amazing because that band is unstoppable. Everyone's working together and everyone has their moment to shine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. At one point that year, Eric lent his band, his 9-piece band, to George Harrison. George Harrison was doing a tour of Japan because I think he was nervous to get back on the road and back in front of people. And Eric maybe coaxed him into performing and performing in Japan, because those audiences are much more friendly and less harsh, critic-wise. So Eric lent him his 9-piece band, and there's a October 1991 edition of Rolling Stone magazine where Eric says, I think the quote was, "They're the best band in the world." And I would have to agree with him. And there's a whole DVD of George Harrison and Eric live in Japan, and Eric's band is there, and they are perfect. They're amazing, and you can see why on these songs: Pretending, Bad Love, Old Love, Wonderful Tonight. So let's start with Pretending. Just gonna look at any quick notes that I have on this. So Eric's band would open these shows with Pretending. This was the first song of the night. Can you imagine that? Pretending was the first song of the night. And usually when you go to a concert, it takes the sound guy like 3 songs to get the sound right. And one of the lyrics in this song is try to get the music right. And the performance of Pretending is so strong that they didn't have to do anything to get the music right. They were just dead on from the get-go.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a show starting as well as that? Where the artist comes out and they're doing Pretending from 24 Nights. That's the first song of the night. That's the performance that people saw. What was the rest of that show like? And we know what the rest of that show was like because we have Bad Love, Old Love, and Wonderful Tonight.
Mm.
That's the level that they were operating at. The song begins with an amazing piano intro by Greg Philliganes. He's playing like 64th notes or 128th notes. It's very impressive. And then Steve Ferroni takes us in with this really nice drum fill. And there's a really great sound that Alex Haas, the mixer, achieves on this song and on every song. When I got to interview Alex Haas, he said that he was somewhere with the producer, Russ Titleman, and they heard this song on the radio. And after the song ended, the DJ said, "This is the biggest sounding live song ever." And if you listen to the mix of it, it's huge. It's so powerful. And it just hits you like a wall of sound without being overproduced. It just hits you. The backing vocals on this song are great. Eric's voice is completely pitch perfect throughout the whole song, as it is on the rest of the DVD. I really enjoy Tessa Niles and Katie Kassoon's vocals. They get to do a couple of riffs and comps in the choruses, and they change up what they're singing every chorus. So it's always interesting. They're never doing the same thing twice. And that's something that Eric does. He doesn't really do the same thing twice. Guitar solo 1 is great because you get a great lead from Clapton, and you can really hear the Soldano and Marshall combination on this song. And it's just the perfect example of a lead tone. And Eric actually takes a double solo on this performance. And earlier we mentioned that Johnny Johnson took a double solo on Worried Life Blues. It's really cool to see Eric take a double solo on this because in a lot of other bootlegs I've seen, he's only gone around one time. And what I mean by that is he only plays a solo over the chord changes once.
Yep.
So he really felt comfortable and inspired to keep playing. And it's a great melodic solo that leads back into the verse. I have to mention Phil Palmer because his comping in between the vocals and in the choruses is perfect. It's never overplaying. It always pushes the song forward. Something also that's interesting is you can hear an organ hitting in the chorus at the same time as the snare drum. So when she says she was pretending, it's kind of this like offbeat thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the 2 and the 4 is when the organ is hitting, which is the same exact time as when the snare drum is hitting. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my right hand is the organ in this example. So listen to how the organ and snare drum work together, and they create this great hitty type feel that's almost reminiscent of Kansas's song Carry On My Wayward Son. There's a lot of that syncopated playing. And syncopated, I just mean a little bit delayed. 1, 2. So it's the 2 and 4, which you should pay attention to in the choruses. And when Eric goes into the second guitar solo, his sound is so incredible. And I don't know if Alex Haas added more reverb or more room sound to it, but I really love what he's doing. And I love the interplay between Steve Ferroni and Eric, and what Nathan East is doing on bass is also great, leading up to the outro riff of the song. And something that Steve Ferroni does to end a lot of these songs, he does this pattern where he does 2 hits on the snare, da da, and then a kick drum, da da da. He'll do it at the end of White Room. It's very powerful and very exciting, and it never gets boring. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Pretending.
That's a great analysis there. Thanks, Michael. You've pretty much hit everything that I was going to touch on and more. So that's awesome. You've been reading my notes, haven't you, Michael? Pretending, this is my favorite song on the DVD. Clapton's playing on it is just sensational. He's singing on it. The band are just on fire. They're unstoppable. It's like a steam train. They're not stopping for anything. They're just going to keep going. The train never comes off the tracks. They never sound like they're going to come off the tracks at all. Clapton's tone on guitar. This is my favorite guitar tone of Clapton. Full stop.
Yeah.
On this performance, especially, like where he's the solo. I think it's the second solo. He's using a wah pedal as well, and just the whole feel. He's vibing off his band. You can hear it in his playing. He's not thinking at all. He's playing. He's in the moment. I gave the song 20 out of 10. I have to give it 20 out of 10. I have to give it one of my scores. I could go on for hours about this song. I think you've touched on everything we need to touch on there, though, Michael. So I'm going to hand it over to Andrew. So 20 out of 10 for me, guys. Never a skip. Never. I'd have to leave the show if I was going to skip this.
Oh, it's a 50 out of 50 for me. It's the reason why I bought that guitar. This album, that single, Pretending, I have to echo everything that Brad has said and more. We're just lucky to get that depth of analysis from Michael, and we appreciate that, Michael. But I'm a fanboy. I just love this song. I always have. It's one of my favorite Clapton songs. The tone, that era, the soldano, the signature strat that he was using. It's just I love it. The wah solo. It's just it's the next couple of songs, the 3 songs after this, it's near perfection for me, and we're just so lucky as Clapton nuts that we've got something like this documented on film. How many artists do we follow and we listen to great performances and we think, jeepers, wouldn't it be great to have that on tape or video or something? We've got it. This is I don't think the history, Michael's touched on it with his article, with his interview with Alex on this. Michael's paving the way for it, but we haven't. And hopefully, our little chat here is a contribution to the landmark that this recording and DVD is. And I warned you guys before we started the show that I'm a one-eyed Eric Clapton fanboy. So I love the song. Love it.
Yeah. Guys, I have to say, this DVD in particular, like the performance of Pretending on this, but this particular DVD, if you love Clapton, you have to acknowledge this as being one of his biggest achievements as a musician. If you're not into this, then you're not a Clapton nut. That's basically what I'm getting at, because this, like Andrew said, I wouldn't own that without this. You know what I mean?
I'm in the market for one of those right now. Trying to replace my Blackie Strat with a pewter Strat.
Yeah.
or
Oh.
Midnight
Are,
Blue Strat. Yeah.
I
are
still
you
love
looking
the
for one with the Fender noiseless or for the lace sensors?
What do you think?
Yeah, okay. I think yeah, that one.
I have to say, the guitar that I'm playing here has noiseless pickups. This is a Clapton pickguard. A
Sure.
Clapton, the current iteration of that pickguard. This is the noiseless pickups with the TBX control, the treble bass expander, and the
Yep.
mid boost. So I just bought the pickup, like a loaded pickguard from eBay, and I replaced it in this guitar.
And I did the I did the same thing here on this one too, guys, about 15 years ago. So it's just a black standard 1990, but that's got the Clapton kit on there.
Right, right.
Yeah, with the lace sensors.
Yeah. So you mentioned pretending being a 50 out of 50, a 20 out of 10. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. But I do have to say that I wanted to know which song from 24 Nights I listened to the most. And I looked at iTunes and it told me it was Pretending. That I listened to it, say, like 186 times, and everything else was maybe in 100 or less than 100 times. And I don't know what the date range is, but Pretending was my most listened to Clapton song from 24 Nights.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah, one of mine too.
Yeah.
And something Brad mentioned before about his use of the wah in that song is so great. And he starts off the first guitar solo with the wah on, but the second solo, he starts with the wah off.
Yeah.
And mid solo, he engages his wah wah pedal.
Kicks it
So
back on.
I'm gonna just see if I can show you what that sounds like. He kind of does this what we call a double stop, which is when you play two strings at the same time. And you could do that anywhere. So when you play two strings at the same time, two notes at the same time, that's called a double stop. And Eric uses that a lot on this album and in his playing. So he's doing this lick. And then Nathan East echoes that same line. And then the drums, bop, ba-dum, as mentioned before. So definitely look out for that when Eric engages the wah mid solo. Obviously, I didn't play that note for note, but that's the general idea.
Thank
Still
you.
sounds great. Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you. So I think that ends our conversation on Pretending and leads us into Bad Love.
It's funny because we could probably talk about Pretending the whole show.
Probably.
Anyway,
I'd be fine with that.